You've heard about the good NES games, but have you ever wanted to see just how bad they can get? Well, thankfully, I've already done that for you. Grab a seat and get comfy, because today, we're cracking open 20 absolutely awful NES bootlegs. Everyone knows Somari, but in case you don't know how unfair this game is, I got a game over 1 minute into my playthrough. After losing to the first boss, I realized that there were no checkpoints and had to redo the whole level multiple times. My victory against the boss was short-lived, because in Marble Zone, the game expects you to jump around on narrow platforms when Somari would rather take a lava bath. You'll clear some of these obstacles by a thread thinner than the spaghetti code holding this game together. It's one of those games that you only play once, like 7 Granddad, another game that needs no introduction. Look at this. How can I introduce perfection? I was stuck on the first boss for a while, but in true caveman fashion, I ran in there and whacked him on the head really hard before he could roast me. Next, this guy thought he could beat me at basketball, but he must not have known that I've been balling since before the wheel was invented, so I put him in his place. I'm not sure what's up with these guys who skipped the discovery of fire and went straight to inventing firearms. I stopped 5 seconds into the ice level because the game already controlled like Mario was on ice, and I wasn't interested in seeing how much worse it could get. Unfortunately, Mario Lottery was a reminder that it could always be worse. This should be the first game you think of when talking about bad NES bootlegs, because it hardly qualifies as a game. You bet on an item, spin the wheel, and nothing changes whether you win or lose. The 5 minutes that I spent playing this game was probably more time than it took to make it. Thankfully, Jurassic Boy 2 had some love put into it. There isn't even a Jurassic Boy 1, they just made it up to make the title sound cooler, which is a trend you'll notice a lot throughout this video. It's so boring that I almost forgot to mention the first minute of gameplay has 5 loops in a row. Why? Was the fact that the loop barely works when you run through it so interesting that you had to show me 4 more times? At least the game lives up to its name, because it's so slow it'll have you convinced you've been stuck in tree sap the whole time. At least it doesn't wall you off in the second level like Mario 16. I go back in time to stop the events of Jurassic Boy 2, taking down some dinosaurs along the way. I thought getting past these plants would be easy, but I didn't know they would be the ones eating me. I thought 10 lives was too much at the start of the game, but you're going to need all of them to beat this boss, and good luck because I wasn't doing that. Now a Mario fighting game I can get behind. Kart Fighter lets you pick one of 8 fighters to duke it out with the rest. Of course, I picked Mari. After crushing Turks in the first round, Green Mari decides to use my chest as a doormat and rearrange my face with a few uppercuts. After I took care of him, I discovered Mari has an infinite combo, which made the rest of the matches a breeze. It was actually a pretty fun time, and I think this is one of the only games in this video that I'd play again, unlike Mario Dragon. If you ever wanted a Mario beat 'em up, Mario Dragon has you covered. If you wanted a good Mario beat 'em up, you're out of luck. After you get past these ladies with whips, take down this buff carrot man, and knock yourself out on this fence, you'll struggle to find your way through the woods. Thankfully, this guy with a baseball bat broke both of my legs, helpfully redirecting me back to the title screen. I picked Versus mode, and Mario had the same expression I do when someone subscribes to my channel, but in this case, he was subscribing to a double knuckle sandwich burger combo with cheese. I was no match for myself, so I went on to Mario-kun, a puzzle platformer where you have to navigate obstacles to reach the goal. I got stuck on this stage because this turtle kept spawning bullets. I probably wouldn't play it again, but it was fun trying to understand how everything worked. Fun is not the word I would use to describe Pocket Monster, a platformer that lets you play as Pikachu. Feel free to make up the story as you go, because I'd like to know who's opening fire into a forest of woodland creatures. Maybe it's the turtle from last game. I thought the game was pretty boring, and I was about to move on to the next one, until I discovered you can skip levels by pausing and then pressing the select button. The bosses are as tough as wet napkins and all go down in 6 hits, and then you go right back to the title screen. Poke Tetris is a version of Tetris with everyone's favorite yellow mascot, Jigglypuff. You get a lot of customization in this game. I didn't even think there would be customization options. You can customize the brick shape, the brick pattern, and the music, but at the end of the day, it's just Tetris, so unless you really like Tetris, it's probably nothing to write home about. It also reuses music from Pocket Monster, the previous game on this list. If you think reusing music is lazy, you don't have to worry, because the levels in Pichu Adventure have no music at all. Instead, you journey through several places to find keys and open a gate that leads to the next place. Thrilling gameplay, I know. If you move far enough away from a certain point in any room, the whole screen goes black, so you usually can't see where you're going. The game literally keeps you in the dark. Also, your own attacks can bounce off walls and hurt you. Was this really necessary? No, unlike Pokemon 4-in-1, because without it, where else can we get 4 times as much jank in one entry? Pika-Click is a really boring matching game where you can't even see the cursor. The second game is quite on the nose. Let me know in the comments if you can guess which one this is based off of. Next is Pika Slot, which is just gambling. I figured there's no point in gambling if I can't bet everything I had on my first spin, so I did. Surprisingly, I won, and that was good enough for me. Last is Pika Dance, which is a rhythm game. I couldn't see the notes, so I couldn't actually play the game, but if I could, I'm sure the whopping 3 tracks will keep me entertained for 5 minutes, just like Pokemon 2000 did. That game's perfect for you if you're like the developer and really want to play as a hunchback dragon that shoots cherries from his mouth. I tore through hordes of enemies with my iconic charged spear attack. This gameplay really speaks for itself, but the cherry on top was this yellow bagpipe that they call a boss fight. I kept dying at first, but then I went behind it and kept shooting it until it was over. Sonic Island is just Adventure Island with Sonic. They kept his iconic pizza cutter attack, but the game isn't too interesting outside of that. At least they had Sonic skateboarding before it was cool. Speaking of Sonic, imagine my confusion opening Sonic the Hedgehog, expecting to be taken to Green Hill Zone, only to start halfway through the game instead. It does play surprisingly well, much better than Somari, but one time I got stuck in this animation and died. I followed this spike ball, waiting for it to stop moving so I could jump over it, but it caught me by surprise. I knew if Sonic the Hedgehog didn't have my back, I could always count on Super Bros 10 Kung Fu Mari. If the title didn't give away the star of this game, I'm sure Mari and his giant head will fill you in. Look at this, he doesn't even look like he belongs in the game. To study the ancient ways of Awful NES Bootlegs, Mari likes and shares this video, then starts his rampage by beating up a bunch of animals for no reason. The first boss was no match for my several generic energy blasts, and just like that, I accomplished nothing. Super Mario 14 is much easier to make sense of. It starts off with a ninja getting a letter from a lady locked in a tower. Unfortunately, he suffers a terrible fate as he realizes this isn't his game and Mario hijacks his body like a zombie. The game is a somewhat entertaining platformer. I got stuck on the boss for a while because my fireballs weren't dealing any damage, but a few kicks as soon as he landed did the trick. I didn't finish the game because I was so excited for the latest installment in my favorite series, Super Mario Bros. 16. I didn't think too much of it at first, but after I got stuck on the train level, I realized I could turn into different animals. The frog can jump pretty high, but is slow. The bird can fly, but takes a while to get off the ground. And we need to address the elephant in the room, because that one is the worst. Enemies can't hurt you while you're an elephant, but you also can't jump. What is the point of a platformer if you can't platform? Fortunately, you don't have to worry about platforming in Angry Birds 3. I don't know what happened in the first 2 games, so I might be behind on the lore. These pigs wanted me to give them the bird, and after a brief misunderstanding, I started playing the game. It's not that bad, but once you've seen 5 minutes of gameplay, you've seen the whole thing. The scenery changes are nice though, which cannot be said for Crash Bandicoot's outing on the NES. Was his transition to 2D always this rough? The game wasn't so bad at first. Crash can jump on boxes and collect fruit, which Bandicoots do in real life. But then you realize there's no point in doing it, since the only thing you care about is getting to the end of the stage, and then you notice how boring the gameplay is. The game has one song the entire time. The backgrounds were a nice change of pace. They were a little detailed, but then they said, yeah, let's just make everything purple. Last but not least, Plants vs. Zombies works surprisingly well and was more fun than I thought it would be, which is more than I can say for most of the games on this list. It's pretty close to how the actual game plays, or maybe not. The last time I played this game was 10 years ago on my grandma's brick of a laptop, but it was a very pleasant surprise nonetheless. And that's 20 Awful NES Bootlegs. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you want more videos like this, any support goes a long way, and I appreciate you all. Take care, and I'll see you later.